So I had a chat with my husband and I said we need to start saving. We need to start being serious now. Generally, Nigerians we love the good life. Generally, we just want to look
like
good.
to enjoy life.
But I've gotten to that stage where I really don't have anything to prove to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm just living my best life, being content with what I have. So many people want to live well above their means just to prove a point to those who are looking. Funny enough, sometimes people are not even looking your way in the first place.
Nobody cares.
Right? If you see me riding a 1999 car,
Yeah.
I'll be cruising with it and be very happy with it now. Contrary to what I used to think before, it's quite priceless to know that I can do what I want to do, be confident with whatever I am wearing, whatever I am using, without having to show off in any way or prove any point to anybody at all.
So basically, you're comfortable in yourself and you can enjoy it without having to, try to impress anyone. That's quite powerful. Lovely. So welcome to the MoneyWise Doctor Podcast, and I'm delighted to be bringing this episode this new year. And as usual, most times it's just me talking about finance and how you can make smarter financial decisions. But every now and then I bring in somebody who has an interesting angle to share their experience. And today I've got a very interesting lady, Dr. Uche Eleazu, is GP, NHS GP, has been a locum GP as well, and several other things in addition to being a doctor. Dr. Uche has been through my MoneyWise Doctor Mastermind and has a lot of insight. Welcome, Dr. Uche.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Delighted to have you. Right, okay, before we get into the meat of the matter, because we have a lot to discuss, we've had a few one-to-one conversations in the mastermind, but all those were all private chats. How would you describe yourself if someone were to say, "Hi, Uche, nice to meet you," in 1 minute? How would you describe yourself?
I'll describe myself as a warm person, a kind person,
Okay.
and a good friend to my friends.
That's actually what is weight in gold. A good friend and one person. And what I mean in terms of your job, I know you're a JP. What's your current job role or your background and all that? Because I know I'm a doctor. I've been a doctor for 15 years, but I haven't earned a dime from medicine in the last 5 to 6 months. Yeah, and my last job as a doctor, salary job, was 3 years ago. So what's your job, your background, and your basically?
All right, so I've been a doctor for 12 years now.
Okay.
And I'm a GP. Initially, I tried salaried role and it just wasn't for me. And I decided to just do locum.
I know what that's
it just didn't fit. I'm doing locum GP roles now, as well as some, out of hours roles as well. But done a bit of teaching.
Wow. Okay.
At the university as well for final year medical students where I live. But right now it's mainly kind of out of hours and locum I'm doing at the moment.
Fantastic. Love it. Yeah, I know what salary. I've done a bit of that as well in the past. It's not for everyone, and it's not for every stage of life. And I mean, at some point you need more flexibility and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And basically, I know before we met, before you even joined the MoneyWise Doctor Mastermind, you had already started your financial education journey. You started looking into a few things. I know this because we had a few chats, and I wonder, at what point did you decide, you know what, I need to take charge of my finances? What triggered that journey? What triggered that destination in the first place? You can't invest confidently if you are one emergency away from financial disaster. You need to build your financial foundations first. I've read over 250 books on personal finance and business. Not one of them explains specific issues that affect medics like NHS pensions, financial anxiety, investing, student loans, and much more. Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Egwim. I'm the founder of MoneyWiseDoctor.com. For over 21 years, I've been investing and studying personal finance. In fact, 3 years ago, I left my salaried NHS GP job after achieving financial independence. Since then, over 1,200 medics have joined our tax-efficient investing masterclasses that are totally free. And much more than that, 10,000 doctors and healthcare professionals have used my content to make smarter financial decisions and avoid costly mistakes. That's why I wrote the MoneyWise Doctor. The MoneyWise Doctor is a step-by-step guide, it's a book to simplify the path from confusion to clarity for medics and to help you make smarter financial decisions and avoid costly mistakes that can affect your future. We've already helped thousands of doctors learn how to save smarter, invest tax efficiently, and finally feel in control, in charge of their financial future. Now, if you're ready to gain clarity, confidence, and control with your money,
the MoneyWise Doctor book is now available. Click on the link below to order your copy now and start your journey to financial freedom.
Okay, I would say that, I've always had a budget for the month. I and my husband, we planned that together right from when we got married. However, it's just been like, I'll say a financial roller coaster, because sometimes you find that you're spending much more than what you're earning, and, it just wasn't working the way it was supposed to work. And about 2 years ago, I would say, well, roughly, that was July 2023. So not up to 2 years.
it's almost 3 years now. We're in the new year.
Oh, well, yes, we're in a new year now. So that's actually, oh, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I'm correct. Almost 3 years. So 2 years plus,
Yes.
actually. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I went on a road trip with my husband, and we went to visit one of my friends in Nottingham. And I got to, have a chat with her, and she said, from the beginning of this year up till now, I and my husband have been able to save about £10,000.
Okay.
And this lady in question, she doesn't work often. She's not a GP. She's working as a locum doctor at the moment. And she doesn't work much. She just works like once in a very long time. So her husband is mainly the person really working. She's taking care of the kids and all of that. And I had to, sit back and reflect. And I was like, you are working. Your husband is working. You have no excuse whatsoever not to have savings. And, I've always been like, anywhere there's a problem, I just give out. If there's a problem here, I solve it. As far as there's money, I don't really, I just solve it. I help people around me without thinking about the future. And this was just my turning point where I realized I had to do something positive for my finances.
It's powerful how, it started as a road trip, but you weren't thinking that you were going to come across that thing. I know for whoever is listening, I don't know, if you're a multi-millionaire, 10,000 might be not, 10,000, even if you're a multi-millionaire, 10,000 is still serious savings just from January to July. But it's funny how talking about finances could trigger you to sort of review and revise what you're doing. Because there's this thing among doctors, and it also is common with some other professions, but very common with doctors. And maybe it's also a British thing. It sounds like it's impolite to talk about money. Doctors also basically are training. You're like, no, why are you talking about money? If you went for a job interview for residency and you were talking about money, or even as a consultant or GP, there's a little bit of coy approach to money. But just by having that chat with your friend, it made you to sort of think, you know what, maybe I can do better with my finances. Another angle I saw, Uche, is like you're saying it's not about the earning, it was about what was happening at the other end. Okay. So now, after that, what happened next? What did you decide to do next?
So I had a chat with my husband, and I said, we need to start saving. We need to start being serious now. This is like an eye-opener for me. I can't just be solving everyone's problem without kind of saving for the future and having that foundation. So I got in contact with a lady on Instagram. And this was just a recommendation by my sister in Nigeria who said, "Oh, I follow this lady on Instagram. I
Yeah.
think you should follow her too." So
Yeah.
I saw her videos and I really liked it. And I decided, okay, I'm going to book in a one-to-one session with this lady, see how I'm going to work on my budget for
Okay.
starters. And then I had that one-to-one session, and that's when kind of I set the ball rolling, because
Yeah.
we looked at my monthly budget, we
Mm.
saw all the loopholes and
Leaks.
places that we could cut out massively, unnecessary subscriptions, even some of the lessons I was doing for my kids that we could get at a better, more
Wait.
affordable rate, and also better quality as well. So we cut down on a lot of things. My car, my husband's car were leased cars,
Yeah.
And generally Nigerians we love the good life. Generally, we
Oh,
just want to look good.
like to enjoy life.
We love enjoyment so much, but I've gotten to that stage where I really don't have anything to prove to anyone anymore. I'm just living my best life, being content with what I have. And, if you see me riding a 1999 car,
Yeah.
I'll be cruising with it and be very happy with it now, contrary to what I used to think before. So, we had to return the 2 cars actually. And, we got returned the 2 of them, got some older, just like 2021 2020 models, respectively, rather than 2023 or 4. And then we did the bit where we had to kind of pay and still have the car at the end of the day.
Oh,
and
like
this
PCP.
kind of cuts the car lease into 2 in terms of like the expenses.
You cut the cost of your car lease like by 50%?
Yeah, by 50% for both of us. So that was
Let me get this straight. So basically, this whole period now, your income hadn't changed,
no,
but your expense went by 50%. So suddenly you were able to save a bit more money. And then
not my expenses cutting by 50%.
okay,
I'm
the
just
car
talking of
lease,
the car lease
the car
amount.
lease expense,
But
okay.
yeah, it was a very good drop, I would say, from what we were spending. And I also had to call some of the utility companies to say, okay, I want to withdraw now. What options do you have? What is the best thing that you can give me? If not, I'm finding another company. And they all just kind of cut down. I was so surprised, sit down and they send you emails every December to say, oh, we are increasing the cost of this bill. And most times we just let it be. But if you actually speak up, you find that you can even get less than what you are actually paying at that point. And that's what happened.
That's fantastic, Uche. I don't know if you remember in August, the MoneyWise Doctor community, we did a challenge like that, where it's like find it at rate, where everyone had to find the leaks in their budget, like look into your bank account, find out what apps you're paying from. People are saving hundreds, some thousands of pounds. And one of them that was most people were shocked about was calling their utility company. I think my own case was my web hosting company. I got like 400 or 500 pounds in terms of discount and all that. And it's something most people don't even think about. They think, well, it's easier for me to just go out and do an extra shift, do an extra side hustle, rather than sitting down and looking at your finances. That saves a lot of money. Right. Before we go any further, I want to unpick some of the things you highlighted. One, you were solving everyone's problem. I think that's what chapter 10 of my book is called, Strategic Generosity. You're solving everyone's problem. And then number 2, you said something about enjoying life. So when you talk about solving everyone's problem, what does that mean? I kind of like, I know a little bit about black tax, given our background, got similar backgrounds in that. Could you explain a little bit on how that impacted your finances and how you eventually handle it now?
Actually, black tax I see as something very common amongst blacks generally, we always want to take care of those at home.
Yeah.
I am still taking care of those at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still helping out when I have and I can
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just those at home anyway. When I say I was kind of helping out friends, anybody that I near me who is in need and something comes up urgently, sometimes I give and I don't even ask you to give me back,
Yeah.
and it just gave me that joy anyway,
Yeah.
but then what I've realized is I can do both.
Mm-hmm.
I can plan myself in such a way that what I am given does not impact me in a negative way.
Yeah.
And I can still be able to automate my payments for the things that I have to do for my future and
Yes.
still be okay and happy at the same time. So
Totally
that's what,
agree.
I've
That's
started
fantastic.
doing now.
That's fantastic, Uche. I think this is kind of like core or part of what we do in the masterminds. Looking at that, yes, you're going to give, but it's got to be strategic. It's got to be planned. It's got to be
Yeah.
factored into your entire finance. So the
Mhm.
same way you give to others, you should be giving to your future. So that's really
Yeah.
brilliant.
Here's how to avoid the 60% tax trap as a doctor or healthcare professional. This could actually literally save you thousands of pounds because you could be unknowingly paying an effective tax rate of 60%. Now, many doctors think that the most tax they pay is 45%, but that's not right. You may have fallen into the 60% tax trap due to a sneaky rule about personal tax allowances. Now, let me tell you how it works. Everyone, especially in UK, Northern Ireland, England, and Wales, has a personal tax-free allowance of 12,570. Once you exceed 100k in income, you start to lose that tax allowance, and by the time you hit 125k, it's almost like you're punished with this sneaky 60% tax because your effective tax rate becomes 60%. You've lost all your tax allowance. Now, I've done a guide that will tell you step by step how this works, a checklist to check if you are falling into it and how to avoid it. Thousands of medics have already used this guide to save thousands of pounds and secure their financial future. Don't miss out. Download the guide with the link in the description, and I hope it helps. Let's jump right back to the episode.
And the second thing you said is about Nigerians would like to enjoy ourselves. So, but
yes.
you said, yeah, but you also said you could drive a 1999 car, not care what someone says. So, do you feel a lot of people is not so much about enjoying themselves? It might be about sort of like, are we impressing other people? Because now I'm looking at my Mercedes. Yeah, my Mercedes, I enjoy it. It's not like 2025, but I've been
Yeah.
driving it, enjoy it. What do you think about that? The difference between, I think I look at it like there's a few things that give you maximum joy and
Yeah.
might not even cost as much. Yeah, what do you think
Yeah.
about that?
So I think that Nigerians, we have this "I have arrived" syndrome, where you want to just show off and show that, oh, I'm so many people want to live well above their means just to prove a point to those who are looking. Funny enough, sometimes people are not even looking your way in the
You
first
know,
place. Sometimes people don't even care,
nobody cares.
right? So you just live your best life and don't live your life to impress anyone.
Mm,
And I mean, it took me a bit of time to get used to that, but I think that it's something that I think is priceless for me to leave. It's quite priceless to know that I can do what I want to do, know what my worth is, be
mhm,
confident with whatever I am wearing, whatever I am using,
mm.
without having to show off in any way
Yeah.
or prove any point to anybody at all.
So basically, you're comfortable in yourself and you can enjoy it without having to, try to impress anyone. That's
Yeah.
quite powerful. Okay, that's really good. Now, tell me a little bit about. So you started with this your journey. You met this lady on Instagram. You had a one-to-one session,
Hmm.
and then you had a chat with them and you started being a bit more intentional about your finances, which is
Yeah.
all well and good. But in
Mm.
terms of generally looking at it in the more specific things like investing and taxes,
Mm.
all that. So
Hmm.
before you kind of like joined the mastermind, how did you feel about your finances generally?
Another aspect that I didn't mention was credit cards as well. And
Credit card.
I would say that I wasn't kind of using them the right way.
Okay.
So one of the major things we did was pay off everything on the credit cards.
Mm.
And we did that and decided we are not actually going to use this. If we're going to use it, we're just going to take just a very little bit for a particular bill and return it back instantly.
Okay.
So that's what we did. It took a while to do that, but we were happy to have cleared it off, and we're not owing any credit card
Wow.
debts or anything like that right now. And then I thought about, yes, so part of the things that we talked about in the MoneyWise Doctor program, the Mastermind program, we talk about the savings, your emergency savings and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'll say that that's something that I have done since I got to be in contact with your program doing
Yeah.
that. But then these things still come up and take it. Some of these emergencies come up, you take it, you start all over again to build. So it's just been a process doing that. But
Yes.
I'm happy that at least when I do that, I have something to fall back on
Hmm.
when an emergency comes up.
I
It
love
could
it.
be visa costs, it could be house repairs, something that I and my husband see as this is urgent. We have to sort it out now. The other thing I thought about was how to increase the income as well.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to that in a second. So I love that you have structure. You decided to pay off your credit cards. Some people have decided they're never ever going to be able to pay off their debt. And it's not even a matter of income. I've seen people earning 200K and they are in debt. So you guys paying that off, kudos to you. I mean, some people follow a different approach where they use their credit card like their debit card, and at the end of the month it all gets deducted in full, but everyone uses what they're comfortable with. But you also started saving, so you started saving automatically, build up your emergency fund, and you use it for emergencies. Yeah, that's what it's for. It said that if that emergency fund wasn't there, people eventually fall into things like debt. You may need to fall back to using a credit card and not paying it off or borrowing money. And worst case scenario, people might even sell their investments and all that stuff. Okay, so but you've got that basics, put it in place, the first building blocks, and then you moved up to the next level, which is sort of about increasing your income and growing your wealth, sort of like solidifying your financial future. I'll come back to that in a minute. I mean, you already mentioned the MoneyWise Doctor Mastermind, which you were part of this last 6 months. What made you decide to join the mastermind? Because at that point, you were already aware I need to do something about my finances, and you'd already taken a step. You started doing something about it already. So, at what point? What made you to? How did you even find us to start with? And what made you to join?
I've been seeing you. I've been getting your newsletters in my mail. I read it. Sometimes I pass. I read it. Sometimes it's like I'll just read through it and close up the mail.
Okay.
But I joined the community, the WhatsApp community, MoneyWise Doctor Community WhatsApp group, and I think that's where I heard about the premium, the mastermind program, and what it entails, and I think that was when I reached out to you.
Yeah.
So initially I still felt like, yes, I have started taking some positive steps in this financial journey, but then I call it a journey because even till now I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I can't say that I am where I need to be, but the good thing is that I've learned those basics, those foundational steps from this mastermind program that I did. So initially, I just said, well, investments, that's something I've never done. That's something that I've not really been, good at. I don't really know how to tell if, okay, this stock is good for me, ETFs versus individual stocks, how to assess all of those things. It was just like Latin to me. And I wanted to learn more about it. So I think that the program gave me that. It gave me the practical and hands-on approach to be
Hmm.
able to invest well. And yeah,
That's
it's been a
fantastic.
wonderful process.
That's beautiful. I mean, one thing I like about it is basically you could tell where you were. I could tell
Mm,
where you are now and
mm,
where you want to go. Yeah, I've had this
yeah.
chat now one-to-one sessions. I know you're also building a business, which is fantastic. Right, I'll
Mhm.
ask you this question now, and it's not a trick question. Which bit of the mastermind helped the most? And then I'll give you a bit of an idea. I know you went through the Investing Academy, the 4 weekends deep dive, and you had one-to-one sessions, and obviously you were part of the group. I don't know if you use the MoneyWise Doctor Brain as well, the AI, and access
A
to the
bit.
vault a little bit, and obviously the
A bit.
group and accountability and all that kind of stuff. So if you were to
Mm.
pick maybe just two things, which would you say were the two most helpful things for you in particular?
For me, I would say the webinars where we had to go to the different sites to see the stocks and to learn some things around them. Um, so those practical sessions, I remember one of the webinars where you were asking us to, if you had a certain amount of money and you want to invest it in different things, what percentages would you invest it in?
Asset
Real estate,
allocation.
gold, tech companies,
Yeah,
upcoming tech companies, stocks, and all of that. And we kind of doing that made me see what other people's thought processes were like. And then when you kind of responded to those answers, it made more sense as well. So I think that's number one. And number two would be the community. The WhatsApp groups are really good because when people ask questions, it's like you're relearning it all over again. You're learning more and more and growing. Just the other day, someone was talking about the AMAS automating,
yes,
the monthly payments, and it was just a reminder again. Am I doing it
exactly.
right? Is there something that I need to do better about this? So yes, that community is really great.
I love it. Fantastic. So the workshops, because these are more like hands-on practical workshops. What
Mhm,
you were describing, that asset allocation is week two of the investing
mhm,
life. It seems to be one of the most, people love that session because it's a bit more
mhm,
practical and it's not like talking
yeah,
about things. Now you're doing it,
mhm,
you're seeing it live.
yeah,
And so the workshops, just like the tax hack workshops again, you're working through checklists, you're trying to find where you're leaking tax. And number two, you said you really enjoy the community. And I think one of the most valuable things people don't realize is not about the one-to-one. The one-to-ones are obviously they are like really people find it super, super helpful. But the
mhm,
community is a way for you to learn from the other 29 people in the cohort
mhm,
at the same time because we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And
yeah,
yeah, we're not saying, I mean, you've learned, by the time you've gone through the investing academy, you've learned enough to know how to invest for the rest of your life. You don't really need to learn so many complex things and all that kind of stuff. You've learned your risk management, asset allocation, but then you then need to be reminded the same thing with taxes and all that. Like the end of the tax is around the corner, and
yeah,
no, not the end of tax year, self-assessment. And the end of tax year obviously is
exactly.
about 90 days away, actually. 90, yeah, 90
Mhm,
days or less. Yeah, so sometimes people forget they haven't utilized all their allowances. So having that kind of like setting where people could be, you see other people talking about it and there's no judgment. It doesn't feel like, hi, Uche, why are you talking about money here? Because that's all. People are not there talking about relationships. They're talking about their finances, and that group has been running for 2 years now as a community. In fact, we've hit the max, and we're looking for probably going to rehome the community somewhere else. Good.
mhm,
Right. So, but now you're done with the mastermind. You're kind of like rounding up now. Um,
yeah.
how do you feel about your finances now compared to before you joined? I'd say you joined like 6, 7 months ago. How do you feel now about your finances?
I would say that I'm still not where I want to be, right? But I have made a lot of progress in my mindset. I've made a lot of progress in the foundation that I need to be able to handle bigger or a larger income.
Okay.
So um once you know the basics and you work according to those rules, it helps you just align things to fall
Mm.
into place.
Okay.
I still kind of know that yes, there should be money for YOLO, having
Yeah.
fun and all of that. Very important, especially if you have a family.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't take away from those basic things that you need to do in terms of investment as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say it's been a great journey.
Yeah.
I'm still learning, still growing.
Still growing.
Um, yeah, yeah.
It's a continuous process. I'm growing myself. Yes. What I'm going to ask you now, when people say where you want to be, have you had a thought about it? Because obviously in week 3 we did this whole thing about financial independence, retire early, and a lot of people in the MoneyWise Doctor community, that's their ultimate goal. They want to get to the point where work is optional. Like they
Mm-hmm,
could work or they might decide not. It becomes a choice. The work
mm-hmm,
because as a 38, I mean 37 when I left my last job, I wasn't going to
mm-hmm,
sit on the beach. I still did stuff, but basically I did
mm-hmm.
what I really wanted to do. Yeah, so
Yeah.
in terms of that, where you want to be, I know you've moved further ahead in the journey beyond where you were, and you've understood, okay, you've got the tools to go. But where is that place you want to be? Have you given it some thought? It doesn't even have to be like a definite amount, or it could be a definite amount. It could be in terms of lifestyle, it could be in terms of your flexibility and, options.
I think that I'm taking steps every day.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense to me than staying in one place, even if it is baby steps. Um, I think that I wouldn't want to really work beyond the age of 60.
Fair enough.
I'd want to retire by 60, and I'm trying to make some efforts to ensure that I earn higher and I'm able to achieve that. Um, I know I did the calculation, what you just talked about in terms of like
Your
when you want
fire
to
number.
retire and all of that,
Yeah.
and trying to calculate how much more you need to be able to do that. I can't remember the exact figure right now,
Fair enough.
but but yes, I'm taking those steps and trying my best in terms of my health as well. I've made a lot of changes, a
Hmm.
lot of changes in the last, I'd say, 1 year. I
Wow.
mean, I used to weigh 20 kilogram more than what I'm weighing right now. So I had to
Whoa.
cut down my eating habits. I had to cut
Amazing.
down
You've lost 20 kilos in the last 1 year.
in the last 1 year. Yes, I had to do exercises 30 minutes to 1 hour every day. It took a lot of willpower, consistency. It was not fun, but at some point I got used to it. And I love watching movies at night, and then when you're watching movies you're trying to eat something.
Yeah.
I've cut down on a whole lot, and I feel like yes, I'm happy with the progress I have made so far. And I'll keep pushing, keep moving, and see how things go.
I mean, health is wealth. I mean, people do realize this that you start taking charge of your finances and they start, and I noticed this in the mastermind. People think it's about money. And then along the line, they start taking charge of their health, they start taking charge of other things. You just realize that, oh, if I'm competent in one area, I can do it in another area. And for some other people,
Yeah.
it's the other way around. They start taking charge of their health and decide, you know what, I want to improve my finances as well. So kudos to you. That's really powerful because at the end of the day, health is wealth. I'm going to ask one question. I mean, is there anything you're doing differently now that you weren't doing, like, let's say, at the beginning of 2024 as a result of the mastermind? I mean, it could be how you think, how you plan, how you invest or make decisions.
Mhm.
Yeah, one or two things you're doing totally differently now.
This is how to get financially smarter in just 5 minutes. Sometimes the difference between making smarter financial decisions and costly, horrible financial mistakes is having the right information at the right time for the right person. So every week I write the MoneyWise Doctor weekly newsletter. It's an email newsletter packed full with valuable financial insights and updates to help you make smarter financial decisions and avoid costly mistakes. Some of the areas I've been covering over the last 70 weeks include actionable tips on tax strategies, pensions, investing, side hustles, and several other financial areas. Now, join thousands of medics who subscribe to the MoneyWise Doctor weekly newsletter to receive it straight to your inbox, and it's totally free. Don't miss out. Subscribe now using the link in the description. And now let's jump right back to the episode.
The other thing is the business that I've started, the hair business. I actually started that just before, it was just the teething period before I joined the mastermind program.
Yeah.
And then, from the one-to-one sessions as well, I got some insights from you and I just ran with it.
Yeah.
With business, sometimes it can be up and down. Sometimes it's so smooth and sometimes you have those kind of challenges. I'm already aware of that.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's just being consistent and showing up, daily that matters. And that has helped as well in terms of improving the income. No matter how small it is worth it, I would say. It's helped as well in your communication with people. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to speak with people and sell what you have to, market your products appropriately. So yeah, it's been great.
You're growing in more than one way. You're growing in multiple ways. Let me tell you something. When you said the hair business, I have expected you to do something like this because I haven't got any. I'm seeing the hair. I'm like, yeah, that looks nice. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm really proud of you, Uche. As you know, we haven't really touched on everything, but I saw the massive growth that you've had in the period that you're in the mastermind, and you're very calm, level-headed. You're all about show me the plan, I'll follow it. Show me the plan, I'll follow it, which is really, really good. But I want to touch on something. I don't think it's still a sore point for you, but this was a major stuff, and I remember you somehow managed to bounce back from it. You lost a bit of money. You did some work, and you didn't get paid. It's several thousands of pounds, isn't it? And then could you tell me a little bit about that? Because basically, that is also a big. It had an impact on your finances, didn't it?
Yes, it did. And this was just also when I had just started the mastermind program, because I did some out of hours work in May 2025. I have gone to Nigeria to surprise my mom, and my sister also surprised her at the same time. She came from California, and it was fun. And of course, once you go home, you've got to spend.
Money, money, money. I know.
It's as if you're paying for the air you breathe in Nigeria right now. So
Money.
you cough, you pay. So we spent a lot of money, came back home, and I decided, okay, I'm going to work more for the out of hours, and I did probably the highest number of hours I had done with that company, and only for us to hear that they're filing for bankruptcy.
Oh no.
And it hit me really. I couldn't imagine that happening in the UK in the first place, because if it's Nigeria, sometimes we hear of such stories where people are being owed salaries and eventually they will still be paid anyway. But this was just, it hit different, and I was waiting for that money because I needed to use it to do some things.
Yeah.
But then I still had to kind of, keep pushing in terms of like the things that I had just started, the hair business, the mastermind program and all of that. And yeah, it's still something that is somewhat being discussed, but it doesn't really, so far it's not looking very promising. But for those who believe in God, who are Christians, like I am, I believe that that money will be paid at some point when I least even, I won't even be thinking about it, least expect it. So yeah, but it's just a reminder that sometimes things won't work out as we plan, but we just have to move on.
I do hope that you eventually get, because the amount involved. I don't know if you want to share the amount, but it's like enough to
Yeah,
pay salary for a couple of doctors, isn't it? For even
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's was quite a large amount, I would say, but yeah, it's prefer not to mention it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Fair enough. Well, I hope that according to your faith, you get paid, and
Yeah,
it doesn't get lost, because that's what we call canker worm and palmer worm, isn't it? Like you get
yeah,
your
yeah.
money back because you worked for it and you eat the fruits of your labor.
I did.
Right, lovely. Right, so it's been fantastic having you on the podcast, and there are a lot of things. I mean, usually my podcast, I've had podcasts going for like an hour and a half, but this period, I'm trying more concise, but lots of insights, lots of stuff from what you say. And going forward, now this is a new year. If you were to advise, if you had to go back and look at Uche from, let's say, 10 years ago, what advice in terms of financial advice would you give to Uche? What would you say to them? Or even if it weren't financial, what would you say to them about the way they look at their finances, or look at their future, or look at their life in general?
I would say be wise, be prudent, plan. Planning makes a whole lot of difference. Planning makes a whole lot of difference. And try to stick to your plan the best that you can. Because some people plan and then they don't stick to it.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's very hard. Well, I'm just going to push back a little bit on that. When you say be wise, I mean, for someone who's, it's called MoneyWise Doctor. What do you mean by that? How do I become wise?
For you to be wise, you have to plan your finances adequately. You have to have a workable budget where you cut down on things that are unnecessary,
Hmm.
and you have to have your emergency savings as well, at least 3 to 6 months of that if you can. Like myself, I wouldn't say I've ever gotten to 6 months, and the points where I got to 3 months, things still came up and took it, but I still kept building, still
Okay.
kept trying. And that's what I think matters, that you're making that effort every day. Think about investing,
Hmm.
and think about kind of ETFs and those baskets of stocks that are quite good
Hmm.
and stable.
Broad, well
Um,
diversified
good,
investments.
yeah,
No top.
those are good ones to kind of invest in,
Yeah.
and think about automating your payments monthly so you don't something else doesn't take that money off, no matter how much it is, even if it's £100, £200, 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira, 10,000 naira, whatever it is, no matter how little, it
Yeah.
is something. And
Yeah.
keep pushing, and you'll get there. It's always a journey, but yeah, we keep learning and growing.
That's very sounds like very sound advice for Uche Junior, or Uche from 10 years ago. Right, okay. And then basically, if you were looking at the next 10 years from now, so you've talked to you gave some advice to the last 10 years. And I usually say to people, if there was something you wish you did 10 years ago, then you should do it straight away. Because in the next 10 years, you're going to feel worse that you didn't do it. The same with investing or saving, if, or basically learning a skill. So if you were to sort of like look out in the next 10 years, I know your goal is to retire by 60, and I know you're nowhere near 60. But if you're just to go 10 years from now, um,
Yeah.
what sort of like, where do you see yourself in terms of your finances, or in terms of your goals and all that?
10 years from now, I see myself as living my best life ever. Like, living my best life, being comfortable, not particularly having been fully independent, because I know I still have like years to achieve that, but at least having gone far into that journey would be so it would be so relaxing and peaceful to know. um and I see myself, having grown in my career as well, potentially business wise as well. It's yeah I am taking steps towards that, and I'm hoping that I will be able to get to that point where I can leave the picture that I see for 10 years from now. But yeah.
I love it. I mean, I don't want to be mistaken for a motivational speaker or motibe, like you call it. You just say you cannot feature in a feature that you cannot picture. So this
Exactly.
you're picturing it, okay? You're going to feature in it, hopefully. Yeah. Well, it's lovely to have you, but I'm just going to ask you one final question that I tend to ask people. What's the biggest or the most surprising thing, financial lesson you've learned or thing you found out in the last 6 to 12 months, basically? Whether it's in the mastermind or generally or from a book, something you just like, wow, I didn't know this, and now I know it. It might be something big that might have been losing you money, or something more that you could have made money from. If you could think about it, what's the biggest or most surprising, financial lesson that I've picked up?
For me, there's a saying in the Bible about those who are faithful in the little things or small things
Yes,
would be faithful in the bigger
much.
things.
Yes.
And I think that ideology of saying that, oh, what I earn is not enough. Yes, it's always good to think about how to increase your income. Very wise idea, do it. But then what you earn can be enough if you plan better, if you cut down on the excesses, cut down on the unnecessary things, and manage yourself well. And if you're able to manage that, you find that when you earn higher, you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to manage that even
Even
much
better.
better.
That is fantastic. I mean, we know people like Mike Tyson who earned hundreds of millions and still went bankrupt, and he's just one example. Yeah, so I totally agree. I resonate with that. Well, it's lovely to have you, Uche. Thank you for taking our time to join us on the podcast, and look forward to having you around in the community, and wish you all the best in the next phase. And I see that this year, obviously, you're going to be building your business to get to higher heights, as well as growing your finances. Right. I've asked all the questions, so have you got a question for me?
Actually, no, I don't. I think we've
You've
asked
asked
so
me,
many questions
you've
in the
asked me so
mastermind
many
program.
questions.
We've learned from questions of others as well. And at this point, I'm just focusing on trying to watch back all of those videos, um, and just learning more, because you could attend the webinar and you don't learn everything at the same time or at the same pace as everyone else.
Yeah,
So I find that each time I watch a video, I learn something new,
yeah,
different from the previous time that I have,
that's
watched it.
fantastic.
So
So delving into the mastermind vault and getting all those videos and
yeah,
digesting
that
it and all
access
that.
is really great. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's lovely to have you, and have a lovely evening. All right then.
Thank you. Take
Yes.
care.
Bye bye.
The MoneyWise Doctor book is now available. Click on the link below to order your copy now and start your journey to financial freedom.